So Google's Made by Google Pixel event was today, and I was not able to get my hands on the 10 Pro XL, but will I be upgrading from my 9 Pro XL? Stay tuned to find out. So Google announced their 2025 Pixel lineup. So we've got the Pixel 10, the 10 Pro, the 10 Pro XL, and the 10 Pro Fold. So the same naming conventions as last year, no changes this time. So as usual, Google is killing it in terms of the device color selection. We have the Moonstone, which is kind of like a bluish color. We have Jade, which is green. We have the usual Porcelain and Obsidian, which are white and black respectively. And we have the Lemongrass for the Pixel 10, which is kind of like a lime lemon color. And the biggest update this year is Pixel Snap, which is Google's version of MagSafe. It's using the Qi 2 wireless charging standard, so you get faster wireless charging. I believe it's 15 watts for all devices and 25 watts for the Pro XL because that uses Qi 2.2. With the Qi 2 wireless charging standard, it also includes the magnetic connections. It includes MagSafe, basically. Google has now added this Pixel Snap feature to the 10, 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, and also the Fold. And they've released a variety of accessories that can go along with this. There's stands, chargers, wallets, and other accessories. And Pixel Snap, because it uses the Qi 2 wireless charging standard, same thing that MagSafe uses, the Pixel 10 devices are also compatible with MagSafe accessories. If you're an iPhone user looking to make the switch over to Google Pixels, then you can easily reuse all your accessories that you might already have. This also allows for a larger variety of accessories because there's already a ton of MagSafe accessories available. And if you get a Pixel 10, you can just get some of these third-party and also probably Apple first-party accessories. And the problem is this is a great feature. It's nice to have this as a built-in feature instead of having to add it via third-party cases. I don't know many people who just raw dog their phones without a case. Like, I will agree, the Pixel devices do look great without a case. This looks great, but I'm not going to raw dog it because I'm scared of getting scratches or cracking the back glass or the screen itself. So I got this mouse case, and this does have MagSafe built onto it, but I'm probably not going to be upgrading based off the fact that that is the biggest feature that the 10 is getting. It's getting Pixel Snap. I will probably be trying the other accessories and seeing how well they'll work with this case. It's kind of great that I can get first-party MagSafe accessories from Google to use on my Google Pixel. The problem with Pixel Snap is even if I were to upgrade to a Pixel 10, I would probably get a case to use on it as well. So I would need to get a MagSafe case so I still have the strong attachment. I can't just use the phone by itself. If I use a regular case that does not have MagSafe or Pixel Snap, then I'm losing that functionality and there's no point in upgrading. But that's just the biggest feature in my opinion. But let's go over what else is new with the Pixel devices and the software. So now the Pixel 10 has 3 cameras. It has the ultra wide camera, the regular camera, and it also has a 5x telephoto camera. So what are the differences between that and the Pro? Because the whole thing about the Pro before was you got this extra telephoto camera along with some other changes and differences as well. Well, now the 10 Pro has a 50 megapixel main camera, which is capable of up to 100 times zoom, and the regular 10 is only able to do up to 20x. Now, how often will people be using 100 times zoom? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a gimmick. Sure, it can be great in some cases if you need to zoom into something that's not even visible in the horizon. They did show some images and it was a pretty good result. This was a clip of this blue car and I thought it was like very ultra processed and AI upscaled, but once they zoomed out, you can see just how impressive that actually is. I would not expect that amount of detail from that image if you zoom that much into it. The other differences between the 10 and the Pro. The 10 has a 20x zoom, the Pro has a 100x zoom on the main cameras. The 10 has a 60 to 120 hertz variable refresh rate, while the Pro has a 1 to 120 variable refresh rate. The 10 Pro also has a slightly brighter screen, but the 10 Pro does have a smaller battery than the 10 by about 100 milliamp hours. The 10 Pro XL does have a larger battery overall compared to any of the other devices. You also get a higher resolution screen and more RAM with the 10 Pro, and you also have a larger storage limit. You can get up to 1 terabyte with the 10 Pro. So the Pixel is known for having a great camera. So let's go over some of the camera features. So we have a 50 megapixel portrait mode, which looks pretty impressive. It's got better edge separation compared to previous Pixel models. We have amazing skin tone reproduction that Google always boasts about. They call it real tone. It has great reproduction for darker and tan skin tones compared to other devices, which will cater more towards fairer and white skin tones. We have night sight as usual, which is always impressive, and Google has the best night mode of any smartphone that I've tried or heard of. I've used the Pixel 6 Pro XL's astrophotography mode and gotten some amazing shots. And yeah, of course, we have the 100x zoom that I mentioned. And they also announced the newer version of the Pixel Fold, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. It looks much better than the 9 Pro. It's got like a more traditional phone screen on the front of it. It's still like a little bit thick. It's not as thin as the Z Fold 7. So if I was to personally choose a foldable to go, like not a clamshell style foldable, but a book foldable or whatever you call those ones, I would go for the Z Fold 7 because it's much thinner, feels like a traditional phone. I feel like Samsung is kind of killing it when it comes to foldables. But the Pixel 10 Fold is IP68 rated, where the Galaxy 7 Fold is only IP48 rated. So they have the same water ingress protection, but the 4 for the Fold 7 means it can only protect against particles larger than 1 millimeter from entering the device. But the IP6 for the Google Fold means it's basically dust proof. It does not allow any dust whatsoever to enter the device. First and only foldable as of now to have an IP68 rating. Most smartphones do have an IP68 rating, but not foldables just because of the complexity of having a hinge in the phone. Now, will I be upgrading? Probably not. I was originally considering upgrading based off of the trade-in value that I would get for my 9 Pro XL. Even though I haven't checked it, I don't think it's really that significant. And I don't really care about the Pixel Snap on the phone itself because of the fact that I do have a MagSafe case. The faster wireless charging speeds would be great, but usually if I need fast charging, I just use a wired charger because it'll always be wireless charging in terms of speed. And the 100x zoom is really not that big of a deal for me because I rarely use digital zoom, especially on a smartphone. If I want to zoom in, I would make sure I'm using an actual device with a dedicated interchangeable lens just so I can zoom further and still keep that optical clarity and quality. So there's some other devices that were also announced by Google as well. There's a Pixel Watch which has a better, larger domed display. So the current Pixel Watch, you can see how the display is flat and you've got pretty thick bezels around it. But with this new Pixel Watch 4, it's got a dome display, so it kind of gets rid of some of that bezel and gives you more screen. I know people hate curved displays, but I kind of think it's worthwhile in terms of watches compared to smartphones where it just kind of gets in the way. And they released the Pixel Buds 2a, which are much more affordable than the Pixel Buds 2 Pro, and they come at just $129 USD, and they do have active noise cancellation. But there's new features coming to the Pixel Buds Pro. There's gestures, so you can nod to accept a call, shake to decline, and there's also a new color, Moonstone, coming out August 28th. Now, not significant changes in terms of hardware and devices themselves. And as usual, Google's a software company, so their events are heavily like feature focused and software focused. And in the past couple of years now, AI focused. There's now this sort of conversational editing brought into Google Photos. So instead of having to like select things and edit a photo, you can just talk to Google Photos and it will make these changes for you. So there's examples here where he says it should remove a plastic bag and it does so. And there's example here where Alex Cooper is telling it to reframe a photo and it actually does all of that and it looks very impressive. You can have badly framed photos or photos with obstructions or whatever, and you can kind of clean up the photo without knowing how to actually do any editing. That's pretty insane. And the great thing about this is it's not just coming to the Pixel 10 Pro. It's going to be coming to all of Google's devices with Google Photos. And you can keep your Google Pixel 9 and you'll still get this feature. No need to upgrade just for this. And as usual with Google, most of their improvements are related to camera and photos and stuff. That's basically all the Pixel is known for, is great photos. So there's also this camera coach, which can give you shot ideas based off of what it sees, and it can tell you how to take that shot. So if you stand in front of someone and try and take a photo, you can tap that camera coach button and it'll give you shot ideas and also tell you how to take a particular shot that you select. So if you think this shot is cool, you can click it and it will give you a list on how to properly accomplish that shot. And I guess AI has now finally taken photographers' jobs. So that's pretty cool. Lots of camera improvements, but as usual, where the Pixels lack is the video. They did this whole thing with the Jonas Brothers where they filmed a music video just on the Pixel Pro XL. If you compare it with shot on iPhone videos, the iPhone ones are way better. And this is because in these iPhone videos, they use whole rigs and all these accessories and stuff to accomplish great shots. But this was basically just kind of taken on the smartphone itself, how a regular person would take a video. The results are good for a smartphone, but it looks super like ultra processed. You know, it looks like it was ran through AI upscalers, and that's understandable for darker low light shots because there's not really that much information in low light. You kind of have to do this like processing and stuff to get it to get such a good picture. I was hoping for more video improvements from Google. Hopefully one day we'll have some sort of raw footage recording or log. Hopefully. I just found out recently that Samsungs are capable of recording in log, and also iPhones are able to record in log. So maybe with a software update, Google will give us video improvements, I hope. Oh, and there's this cool feature, Magic Queue. Basically what it does is it's like smart text responses. It's able to connect information from various Google services and surface that up in other apps. So if you're talking with someone and they ask, oh, what's that dinner reservation for tonight? It'll bring this up and say what time it is and where it is as well. If you're trying to edit a flight and someone messages you and says, oh, can you call airline name and find out this information or reschedule or something like that? And it'll be able to fetch that from your Gmail, use that for context to figure out what you're talking about and serve that information for you. Even if you call the airline through there, it'll bring up your flight details and other information that you might need for that call. So it would work for hotel reservations, dinner reservations, flights, you know, all sorts of bookings. You know, you don't ever have to be on a call and, you know, they ask for your tracking information or your booking number or something, and then you have to go scrolling through your emails and stuff. No, it's just going to be right there for you. This is Pixel 10 exclusive right now, but hopefully with a Pixel drop, we'll get it sometime this year. And this is all run on device locally, so it's private. You're not sending any information to the cloud. So if you're worried about privacy, they've got you covered. Another AI feature they announced is Live Translate. And this allows you to call people who speak other languages, and it will translate between your languages. It'll keep your voice and your inflections. So if I call someone who speaks Spanish, for example, and I start speaking to them in English, it'll translate that all into Spanish and use an AI generated voice that sounds super close to mine. This is also all done on device locally, so it's private as well. No information is being uploaded into the cloud. There's the event. Obviously I don't have the device, so I can't give you hands-on for that. But overall, the event did not have a lot of hardware changes. It was mostly just software and AI and all that stuff. It's Google, it's 2025. That's not unusual. Last year's event was very AI heavy. I think that's when they introduced Gemini to the smartphones. But yeah, hopefully one day we'll have a more hardware focused launch. But anyways, that's all I have. So I'll be here waiting until next time. And that's all. Subscribe for more.